afterwards?
Yeah, I only got one outline. I'm sorry. I didn't think about afterwards, and I was like, oh, she'd probably want it while I was speaking.
No, I don't need it while you're speaking.
Okay.
Just some people forget afterwards. Just don't forget. Okay.
Okay, first off, I need a volunteer.
Wow.
It won't be anything hard. Lisa, come on up. Okay, I'm going to tie this around your eyes. Turn around. Okay. I'm very good at this. Okay. What you're going to do is over here, to your left, there's a tree. Are you okay?
Yes.
I want you to fly around the tree. You gotta fly, make the little, you know, right here is the tree.
So I don't mind it. Okay.
I want you, without touching the tree, I want you to fly around the tree.
Fly around.
Fly around.
Nobody except about 10 people across campus are watching you.
Look at that form.
Touch the branch. Up above.
You're almost done.
I'm a sad little bird.
That was perfect. To take that off.
Good job.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ruth Tampin, a communications scholar, said, without feedback, we are flying blind. Lisa, how was that for you?
That was a little scary.
A little scary.
Because I
What if I run
wasn't
into
sure
the
of
tree?
the ground or exactly where the tree was.
Definitely.
Or I'm wearing wedges.
Good point. I didn't think about that. Very good point. Through research, and I've been really interested in feedback. The past few years, I've taken out classes and observed a lot of things, including feedback, whether verbally and non-verbally. Our view of ourselves is not the same as our view that other people have of us. Gladys sees me differently than I see myself, so it's very important that I get feedback from her because that helps me. Also, feedback is used not only in the classroom but throughout our entire lives. Employers, the military, our parents, everybody uses feedback, and it's something that we'll need throughout our entire lives. We learn feedback everywhere we go. It really is just a matter of how we apply it. We use it both during our speech and at the end of our speech. So while it is important to use eye contact during our speech in order to connect with our audience, it's also very important to use it in order to see how they're responding to your speech, to understand their feedback, what they're saying to you. We use this through body language. You can assess and adapt to your audience. So if you're giving a speech, there are a lot of signs that you can look for if an audience misunderstands you. If somebody puzzles their brow, you can see a little furrowing of their eyebrow, they might not understand, whether because you used a word that they didn't understand, or maybe you explained it too quickly, or just in a way that they didn't understand. And you can see this and respond by saying in a different way or explaining something, defining a word. And also if they're distracted, whether they're looking around, it can mean that they are misunderstanding something. It can also mean that they're bored. As students, I think we have a lot of experience in kind of getting bored in a speech. What are some things that you guys have experienced by doing and seen that we do when we're bored? Wow, something else. Play on your computer. Stare. It's a glazed look.
Sleep.
Doodle on your notebook. All of these things. The drumming of the fingers. If you're wiggling a lot, will come up and they'll lean back and they'll go because they're bored. They're not very interested. In this case, you kind of want to readjust. You want to give an example. You want to involve them in some way to redirect their attention back to you. There's also a lot of feedback telling someone that they misunderstand or that they disagree with you. If they disagree, they might shake their heads. They might stop listening altogether and just look and do something else. They might frown. You can see this, and it's okay most of the time that they disagree, but if you're in a persuasive argument, you definitely want to try and say something in a different way, or maybe a less offensive way or forceful way that will help them to see things from your perspective. It's also important that we know that they're actually understanding us. If people are shaking their heads, they're looking at you, they have the eye contact, it's a good sign. You want to keep doing what you are doing. So feedback during the speech is very helpful, but also feedback after the speech can really tell you things that you want to work on. Mary Drummond, the author of Essentials in Leadership, came up or developed what she called the sandwich method in order to give someone feedback. Basically, you start with something positive that they did, and then you give them something negative, and you end with something positive in order to both help them and tell them what they were doing well. In this method, you need to make sure that you're very specific. So many times we grew up in elementary school where our teachers said, "Oh, well done, good job." No one knows what that means. If you don't tell them something specific about what they did, like, "Gladys, I really thought that you pronunciate well," then they're not going to know what that means. We can also do this by providing examples, giving them evidence of what they're doing. If I stand up here and speak and you're like, "Oh, I did great," but you didn't say any of your sources, then that's something that I know specifically that you gave me evidence that I can work on. It also is important that you do it rather quickly. If you wait a half hour to give somebody feedback or to the end of the class, you're not going to remember what they said. They're not going to remember at which points, and everything is lost, and it's really not that useful. So it is both important to respond and see the feedback both during the speech and after your speech is over, through body language and through verbal contact. When we do this, we have the ability to better our speeches. There's no one in the world that is perfect at their speeches. We can always get better. Feedback is around us everywhere, whether we want to listen to it or not. But if we do, it can benefit us in every way.